Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Uh, Welcome to our inaugural Tech Startup Investment Forum. There are people joining us today from all over the world, particularly a whole lot from the United States. We have guests from Canada signed up, the UK, Sri Lanka, and also all the way from Australia. I know that it's past midnight for Australia. So, again, everyone, thank you so much for joining, taking the time to join us today, taking the time off of your precious weekend. So we plan on spending nearly 50 minutes of bringing you information on how you could be a part of this lucrative tech industry. So, please allow me to spend about 10 minutes or so to give you a background and introduce the panel. So, SLACCOM, or Sri Lanka America Chamber of Commerce, is a nonprofit organization headquartered in Las Vegas, Nevada, with chapters in other metropolitan cities. We are a business forum to facilitate and develop trade, commerce, and investment between the United States of America and Sri Lanka. IT-BPO promotion is a key initiative of ours, and we are thrilled to launch this investment forum in the sidelines of the DigiCon 2030, where the worldwide IT leaders will be congregating in Colombo just in 3 days' time. So, you, that means all the participants, you have a desire to invest in Sri Lanka for various reasons, but need a clear program. On the other hand, the tech industry has grown significantly over the years, even amid turbulent times, and now has a very good startup ecosystem. It is under Stanford University's Seed Spark program. There are incubators, venture capitalists who are funding and nurturing the startup companies, and there's so much more. So we believe it is the best time to get involved. So providing the platform to bring you, who's participating here today, the potential investors, and the startup ecosystem together is our goal here. As I mentioned, we are a startup company. We are a nonprofit organization. We do not have any stake in this, but as a nonprofit geared to supporting the economic growth in Sri Lanka and also bringing ties between US and Sri Lanka in terms of commerce, that's where we come in. So today, what we have done is we have invited some of the stakeholders to provide you a little background and 3 companies from that ecosystem to present you and give you as much information as possible. Thereafter, you can connect with them directly and make your bid. So going forward, this program will continue monthly on the last Saturday at the same time. So what we will do is we will bring another 2 to 3 companies to present to you and provide you information. So end of the day, we believe this will be a win-win situation. So now let me introduce the key stakeholders here, who are the panelists. Let me first introduce the person who is spearheading this effort, the Sri Lanka's digital economy effort in the United States. That is Mr. Charita Yattagoda, the Minister Commercial from the Sri Lankan Embassy. Charita. Over to you if you want to make some remarks.
Yeah, first of all, let me thank Mr. Aruna Abeko, the President of Sri Lanka American Chamber of Commerce, as well as Sri Lanka American Chamber of Commerce for this important initiative. As we all know that IT services are very important services overall, not only Sri Lanka, for the whole world. In fact, in Sri Lanka, we have been trying. The government is trying very hard to promote it, seen the potential of this service. So that we have seen, there are many developments back in Sri Lanka. As you all know, that the situation that we face recently, the economic crisis, mainly due to the foreign exchange outflow, is much higher than the inflow. So to speak, to solve the problem, so the best way to expand our exports, of which the IT services play a pivotal role, because like everywhere we see that the things are developing, and it has become the goal of this era. Uh, Unlike the petroleum products earlier, now IT services have become the most important contributor for many economies in the world. So to take that advantage, like we see that, unlike in other areas, we need only the human capital rather than other like the money and all that. So what we basically need is the human capital, and that we necessarily have in Sri Lanka, particularly thanks to our education system. So we need to take that advantage. So in this background, I must thank Arun and the team for initiating this very important session for to link these companies with these US Sri Lankans who can contribute to the efforts, and I'm pretty sure that we can get see the results in this area by join hands with these companies. So it's a very important initiative, and we are very keen to see to expand uh, going forward this effort, because if you look at Singapore at that time, was one of the countries which was even behind us at that time. But particularly, the Singapore has started developing that fast, thanks to mainly to the US. At that time, President Mahathir Mohamad had a very close contact with that commercial, the person who was handling that time, the commerce from in US side. That led to change the whole scenario, led a lot of companies to invest in Singapore and to change the whole scenario. So I'm pretty sure with all your efforts, with all other stakeholders coming in, we can change the scenario for the betterment. So once again, thank you very much, and Aruna and Amdya, whatever the assistance that we can extend from our end to make sure all things in place. And at the same time, I just wanted to invite you all. There's another big session happening in Sri Lanka on 25th. 25th June, which for which you all can register yourself, and to see that, yeah, it is called Digi Econ Summit in Sri Lanka. So there are many stakeholders coming from all over the world to join that physically as well as virtually, so that you can also join and see what where you can contribute as a companies, and as stakeholders to take benefit out of that. Thank you.
Thanks, Charita. We will share that link at the end. So we not only work, we the chamber not only work with the private sector, we also work with the public sector, particularly at city, state, and federal level to seize opportunities for the Sri Lankan IT companies. So to that end, we are very honored to have U.S. Senator Jackie Rosen on board with us to support. So let me welcome Senator Jackie Rosen's representative, Netmini Happawana. Netmini?
Hello, everyone. I'm here from the Office of U.S. Senator Jackie Rosen, and I'm here on behalf of the Senator to learn about all the new initiatives and just to be a listening ear for the Senator as she could not be present here today. And I just wanted to learn about the new initiatives that are happening in the community here in Southern Nevada. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Netmini. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the person at the center of Sri Lanka's digital strategy, Mr. Sachindra Samaratna, the Chief Digital Officer of Digicon. Sachindra?
Thank you very much, Aruna. I apologize if there is a background noise because I'm out, and but I wanted to take this call of its importance. Thank you for having me. Thank you to Chalinda for connecting, and thank you, Mr. Yattagoda. I know we have been in touch, I think, since February when we had the initial meeting with His Excellency the Ambassador, introducing Digicon at that time. Unfortunately, uh, we couldn't have physical participation from the US, but I hope through this endeavor that we could have remote participation. If I may share the screen just to take you through a few slides of what DigiCon is, what the DigiCon Investment Summit is, and if I may, give me a second. Please let me know if I'm sharing the screen. It's not visible to me. Is the screen seen visibly?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Right. If it's not there, and I will
Yes,
just
now it is.
now it is right. Okay. Might be a bit of a lag. Hopefully, we'll be able to take you through. So I have a few minutes. I'll try to end this in about 6 to 7 minutes. Thank you for all those who have joined this call. So Sri Lanka, in terms of IT ecosystem, have been growing for about 30 years. We started off as a destination for offshore, especially based on labor arbitrage. But since about 10 years back, there is a startup ecosystem, homegrown technology companies, homegrown technology services companies, product companies that have been booming in all parts of the country. And the Digital Strategy 2030, which you see on the logo, is what we have embarked on as Digicon, which is our brand. And Sri Lanka has a digital strategy which has been launched last month and is will be implemented throughout the next 7 years. There will also be a AI strategy which will be launched during this month, end of this month, and which is being worked on. And an AI white paper was already released for public consultation. So it's an exciting time for Sri Lanka having a digital strategy and an AI strategy both coming into place and with the implementation mechanism. So the investment summit is one of the key endeavors to attract investment to implement both strategies, the digital journey of Sri Lanka and also the AI journey of Sri Lanka. Why do I call it global? It's because we have global players involved. We have the World Bank who is supporting us, and mind you, with a country who is just coming out of economic turmoil and in the point of economic resurgence, the World Bank has backed us, Mastercard has backed us, and so many other global players, which I will go into. Just to give you a glimpse of the Sri Lankan ecosystem in terms of tech startups only, Sri Lanka as a whole would have about 1,000 IT BPM companies. And here you see how the tech startups, which are, let's say, less than companies which are less than 5 years, have spread across the country. It's not centered only on Western province. One third of our tech startup ecosystem is around the country, is distributed around the country. And as you see, you may have provinces that you come from as well. And we have startup hubs situated in 8 out of 9 provinces of Sri Lanka. 8 out of 9 provinces of Sri Lanka, including Sabaragamu, northern province, Uva province, central province, and these are active startup hubs which are really nurturing the province and setting up infrastructure and ecosystem in that area. If you go into a global realm, looking at Sri Lanka from a global ecosystem standpoint, these are data from Startup Genome, which recently launched its Global Startup Ecosystem Report 2024. They launched it in UK, and we have been part of this report for some time in order to understand where our ecosystem is heading. Our ecosystem value is 252 million, and we are poised to grow to $1 billion of ecosystem value by 2026. And we see, even in a time of economic turmoil, we see a 3% growth in our ecosystem value. That's the important part. Of course, the global average is to 29 billion. But even in economic turmoil, we grew it by 3%. We attracted $11 million of early stage funding. We attracted $104 million of VC funding. I wanted to point out those areas. And in this report, you can see this report if you go to the Startup Genome website. Sri Lanka is featured. You will see that Sri Lanka is ranked high in terms of a destination for competitive talent and also quality of talent. So that's something that, of course, we know our talent is there around the world, empowering and powering many companies. And I'm sure that you are as well in your own country. These are some of the companies throughout the last 2 years that have attracted funding. There's only a few set of companies, and it's these companies which contribute to that ecosystem value. So some of the logos you may already know, and they have already attracted funding during the last 2 years. These are some of the venture capital firms that have supported with funding and have provided funding. EQT is the world's seventh largest equity firm in the country, which recently acquired WSO2. I'm sure all of you know about WSO2, and this is one of our greatest wins with EQT coming in. And mind you, do you know that EQT is also a 50% shareholder of IFS? IFS is a Swedish-based company which has set up the Research and Development Center in Sri Lanka, which is
Sorry,
now
Sachindra, if you are sharing, the slides aren't visible.
slides aren't visible. Okay.
Can you reshare, please?
Right. Let me try that. So I guess you didn't see any of the slides
No,
after
we
the first
saw
slide.
and it went away. Yeah, it was there.
Okay. Let me. Sorry about that.
Okay,
Can you
perfect.
see the slide now?
Yes, yes.
Just a second. Right. Hopefully you see the slide which has EQT logo, the Goldman Sachs logo, and Inventures logo. So these are some of the VC firms which have already invested in companies in Sri Lanka. And this is the traction that are there. The local VC firms, local angel investment in the angel networks, and foreign VC firms. And today I know we have Inventures on the call and presenting three startups that Inventures have supported, Inventures have funded. So the Global Investment Summit, which we have put together, brings that entire investment fraternity to one platform. Foreign and local, government and private sector, multilateral agencies, all to one platform to spur investment. And this year, we selected from 96 companies around the country who are looking for their next rounds of funding. Some aspects of them, 19 of those companies have already raised funding, and 12 of them have raised more than $50,000. 33 of these companies have overseas businesses. 39 of these companies are already earning forex revenue, and 14 of these companies are earning more than $500,000 in revenue. So this is kind of a snapshot of the demographics of the companies that have been put forward. And these are some of the logos of these companies who are getting into one-on-one meetings at the investment summit this year. Some logos you might already know and are acquainted with. And these are some of the global investors that are coming down to Sri Lanka. And I thank Enventure specifically for connecting some of these VC firms to come down to Sri Lanka and supported by many of our sponsors. And this is, I would say, after many years, one of those occasions that so many number of VC firms, so many number of global investors are coming down to Sri Lanka to support tech companies and to really harness the untapped potential in Sri Lanka. There's so much of potential which is out there that we want to bring out and to connect, especially for them to have a first mover advantage. And some of these entities like Trinity, Striders will talk about the advantage that they got by being first movers and investing in Sri Lankan tech companies. Here is a brief of the agenda. And I'm happy to say that the CEO of IFS, Sweden, the Industrial Financial Solutions, third largest ERP in the world, which is funded by EQT, will be there at the summit, and they will announce something very exciting for Sri Lanka in terms of their growth and also a growth of EQT investment in Sri Lanka. We'll be having a very exciting panel discussions. We have almost 25 panelists and moderators being part of this. We have more than 15 foreign guests being part of panels and as investors. And a very exciting lineup. I hope you will join on the day. We start at 8:30 a.m. and then we'll go on till 4:15 p.m. Sri Lanka time. And Of course, a very good lineup of speakers from all over the world, big brands like MasterCard, Microsoft, some of their top notch are speaking on this. The Gates Foundation, World Bank are speaking at this forum. VC firms like Accelerate Asia, 10ET, Quest Ventures are speaking at the forum. And have much exciting lineup. Sorry, I didn't have time to put all the pictures. So there are 25 speakers altogether. And here are the partners who are backing us this year, international and local partners, multilateral agencies. And this is where the entire ecosystem have rallied together to support the tech ecosystem to bring in new sources of funding. So we will also have announcements and signing of certain deals where companies are setting up in Sri Lanka. Companies are receiving investment from venture capital firms, and that will be the highlight of the first part of the agenda as well. His Excellency the President will be gracing the occasion, so we will be hearing him speaking in the forum at the onset of the summit, and it will all be live streamed through Zoom. And I hope you will register. I will put on the QR code as well in case you want to scan it. But of course, Aruna and Mr. Attagoda will share the link through to you, to this those who have gathered here, and to maybe the membership as well. And hope to see you at 8:30 a.m. online on the 25th of June. Thank you very much once again, Aruna and Mr. Attagoda and Chalinda, for having me explain and then and able to create awareness about the Digicon Global Investment Summit at this forum. Thank you very much and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Sachindra. So everyone, you heard the big picture of where we fit in, but I'm sure you are eagerly waiting to see how you could be a part of all this. And so to that end, let me introduce Charlinda, the managing partner of Ventures, and he will be bringing on the founders of startups. The whole meat of this, the essence of this conversation, this engagement, that's what you all are here for. So Charlinda, over to you. Take it away.
Super. Thank you so much, Aruna, for inviting me, and as well as to the entire SLACCOM committee and everybody who put this together. It's a very nice to be here, and a very good morning and afternoon to everyone who's joining in from all around the world. Very quick background to myself. I've been involved with startups since the war ended in 2009. In fact, myself and Sachindra, we both joined ICTA at the same time, and I started the first incubator in the country. From there onwards, for the last 15 years, has been running various initiatives. Ventures is it's a venture capital fund. We are licensed under the Monetary Authority of Singapore, so we run everything out of Singapore. I live in Sri Lanka. I prefer to live in Sri Lanka, so I am based here, but I do travel up frequently for all the work that we do. And we are currently the only licensed venture capital fund operating in Sri Lanka and investing in Sri Lanka. We, as a fund, we focus on primarily B2B fintech companies, and we invest. So far, we have about 10 investments covering Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, Singapore. Our recent investment is in the UK, which is also founded by Sri Lankan. So the entire development happens here in Sri Lanka, but the product is primarily for the UK market. And we very recently closed a seed round at £4 million, led by Barclays Bank and Mainset, which is one of the largest PE funds in the UK. So today I just want to give you a small brief about ourselves. If you want to learn more about Ventures and the work that we do, Aruna can put me in touch, or I'll be happy to share our deck, which Aruna can circulate with everyone for additional information. But today I want to introduce two companies that we'll be presenting that we've also invested. We were the first institutional investors into these companies, and we've been working with them for the last, I think, about 12 months, little over 12 months, really helping their growth. So the first company is a company called Shopbook, which is run by a person called Abid. Shopbook is essentially a digital ledger, mobile digital ledger, which automates all the activities for MSMEs. So think about if you've been to Sri Lanka, and if you remember Sri Lanka, if you go to PETA, it's all about. I think I wouldn't want to go through the deck. It's a very long deck, and I think we'll try to give Aruna the space for the entrepreneurs. So we liked what Abid and the team was doing, trying to digitize all these transactions, bookkeeping, and accounts for the PETA community. And that's where we started, and they've done a fantastic job. I don't want to steal Abid's thunder, so I'll let Abid tell you more about it. And then the second company is a company called Nanosoft, which is in fact all the way in Kuliapitia, 100 kilometers, more than 100 kilometers away from Colombo. The founder is Sanjeeva, and what Nanosoft does is digitize cooperative societies. A cooperative society is, this was introduced to us by the British, and it essentially operates like a bank, but every transaction is recorded in a ledger book. So what corporate Smart Coop, the product is essentially a core banking application for the cooperative societies. Now, we look at these type of solutions when we invest. We look for founders who are really trying to empower the bottom of the pyramid, so to speak. Our focus is primarily on fintech, and the reason for this is we believe that financial independence is the purest form of empowerment. And also, if you look at Sri Lanka, while we do have the highest literacy rates in Asia, if you look at our financial literacy, it's below 35%. And a lot of the challenges that we have seen in the past couple of years can be attributed to the lack of financial literacy. So we want to work with these type of entrepreneurs who are really solving extremely hard problems, problems that have been ignored by many parties over the years. So that is a little bit of us. Our investors have been very successful Sri Lankans who are living overseas. About 80% of our investors who has put money in our fund are Sri Lankans who are living overseas. They're either very, very early employees of companies such as BlackBerry or Sonos, or they're executives in organizations like Apple, Lego, Facebook. We have about 30% foreign investors from India, Singapore, and Japan primarily. And together, we essentially help companies go to their next stage. As Sachindra mentioned, we work with a lot of the larger VC funds in Singapore, 6 of which will be coming next week, including a fund called Millennium Asset. You can have a look at it. Millennium Asset is a global venture company. It's a large family office. They have over $67 billion asset under management, which is more than 80% of our GDP. So we've been privileged to bring all these venture capital funds for the first time to Sri Lanka. It's their first trip. We did a similar event in last year, November, where we took Sri Lankan companies to Singapore. We partnered with Google. We worked very closely with Google in Singapore. And then we created a platform where the Sri Lankan companies could pitch to the venture capital funds that are primarily focusing on larger rounds, just to get them an understanding. So this is a very nice follow-up where it's an inward mission so that they get to kind of experience what Sri Lanka is. So that is the work that we do. So without further ado, I will hand over the controls to Aruna, who will bring on our first entrepreneur. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them and share more information about the work that we do. Thank you very much once again, Aruna, for giving us the opportunity.
Thank you, Chalinda. So we do have a Q&A session at the end. So I invite all the participants to keep including your questions in the comment section. Our admin will certainly take a note of all that and bring it back to the entire panel, whether it is directed at Chalinda, someone else, Sachindra, anyone. So please do keep commenting. So it is my pleasure to bring on Abid to the stage. He's the founder of Shopbook. So Abid, over to you.
Thank you very much, Arun, and the team for organizing this event and giving us the opportunity to present here. Can you guys see the screen? Hello? Can you guys see the screen?
Abid, so we see Ventures Growth Fund slide. Yeah, if you can present again, I'm sure that will pop up.
Yeah, sure. Okay, can you guys see the screen now?
Not. Yes, all good.
Excellent. Okay, so hi everyone. So I'm Abid Sabir. I'm a two-time founder and a chartered accountant. So currently I'm focused on building Shopbook. So at Shopbook, we are driving digital transformation of 2 million plus MSMEs in Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka is a $75 billion economy, and 52% of this economy is contributed by MSME. Unfortunately, over 86% of MSMEs still rely on traditional pen and paper to manage their books, inventories, and everything in between. So when we look into detail, an MSME spends over 3 hours of their daily time closing their store, going through hundreds of bills and receipts, writing down them in a notepad or a book. So that's a lot of time wastage there. And not only that, due to this, they are unable to make any sort of decisions. They can't track inventories, credit efficiently. At the end of the day, they don't even have access to formal finance. So this is where we come in as a solution. So at Shopbook, we have built a digital ledger that can be used in any smartphone device, which is available in Sinhala, English, and Tamil. As of now, we have been able to digitize almost all the important day books. That is customer day book, supplier day book, cash book, stock book. We even launched our web version last month. So with Shopbook, MSMEs can save a significant amount of time. They can collect payments 3 times faster with automated reminders. They can manage credits, inventories efficiently, and at the end of the day, they even can get access to formal finance due to complete record-keeping system. To talk a bit about the market, so there are 2 million plus MSMEs in Sri Lanka, 86% of them offline, and Sri Lanka has a high internet penetration rate. So when we take a top-down approach, the market size is well over about $100 billion. And when we narrow down to our criteria, the market size comes to about $35 million. So in terms of tractions, as of now, we have been able to generate 1,000 plus monthly active users, and over 500,000 transactions have been recorded within the app. And we also won Common Violation Award, which was held a couple of years back. So in terms of go-to-market strategy, we are going to launch our paid marketing campaigns next month, and we were able to onboard one of the largest telcos in the country, Dialog, as one of our reselling partners. And we have strong inbuilt virality features within the app that drives a strong word-of-mouth promotion for our app as well. Our app is free to get started, so we are going to charge a subscription on the advanced version of the product. And not only that, we will be making additional revenue through our value-added services. So we are going to partner with a payment wallet to enable our customers to collect and make the payments within the app itself. And we are going to partner with a lending provider to provide financing to our clientele. So in terms of direct competition, we compete with CR Books. In terms of indirect competition, we compete with players in the payment gateway and POS space. A bit about the team. So I'm myself a chartered accountant with close to a decade of experience in this field. I previously co-founded a company called Simple Books, which is the largest private organization registering companies in Sri Lanka. And Simple Books owns the Sri Lanka's biggest YouTube channel in entrepreneurship category, with over 450,000 plus subscribers. My other co-founder, Vidushan, has over 8+ years of experience in the tech space, and he also previously co-founded a startup that won Spiralation Award. And my other partner, Bhanuka Harishchandra, won Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia, and again, he brings invaluable expertise in marketing and tech. So this is the roadmap that we have for this year. So we are going to launch our distributor app. We are going to integrate with the payment wallet, barcode scanner, and we have lined up many more other features to launch this year. We are looking to raise $150,000, and with that funding, we are looking to hit $500,000 in recurring revenue within next 24 months' time. So we are not just a business; we contribute towards SDG goals as well: financial inclusivity, economic growth, a few that I can name. So these are the apps in the regional market. So we have Kada Book from India, Bukukas, Buku Warang from Indonesia, Bazaar from Pakistan. So all of these apps have been able to raise significant amount of funding. So this just shows the potential of the market we are in right now. So this is our vision for next 24 months time. So right now we have the retail app. We are going to launch our distributor app. The problem we are trying to solve is distributors don't have a way to monitor the stocks of the retailers. Retailers don't have a way to do real-time stock ordering with distributors. So by launching our distributor app, we are going to sync our retail app with the distributor app, and then we are going to solve the stock management problem. On top of that, we are going to integrate with the payment wallet and then do credit scoring. By doing credit scoring, we'll be providing that data to a third-party lender. So third-party lender will be able to provide invoice financing to these retailers. So because of that, the retailers can buy more stocks with distributors, and distributors can sell more stock to the retailers. So this solves the entire supply chain bottleneck for a Sri Lankan SME. And by doing this, we open up a massive market of FMCG of over 20 billion US dollars and retail for over 13 billion US dollars. So that's all from my presentation, and I invite you all to join our mission of driving digital transformation of 2 million plus MSMEs in Sri Lanka. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Abid, for that insightful information. So this is for the participants. We will share all this information if you want to, for you to directly get in touch with these panel members, including the venture capitalists and the startup companies that they are supporting. So with that said, let me introduce the second speaker from the startup point of view, Mr. Sanjeeva Patirana. Sanjeeva from Nanosoft. Sanjeeva, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Aruna. Thank you, SLACCOM, and thank you, Inventures, for having me here today. Let me quickly share my screen. Hope you can see the screen.
Yes, you are good to go, Sanjeeva. We can see the screen. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, more than 100 years ago, the cooperative banking system in Sri Lanka was introduced by the British. Since then, they have been using pen and paper to maintain customer information and account records. SmartCoop is a co-banking application specifically designed for the cooperative banks to provide modern and smart banking experience to its customers. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sanjay Patrana, founder and CEO of Nanosoft Global. To get you a better idea, let me define what is a cooperative. Cooperatives are people-centered enterprises owned, controlled, and run by their members to realize their common economic, social, cultural needs and aspirations. Now, since all the data are in the books, it takes at least 7 to 10 minutes to serve one customer, and unable to introduce demand-driven products. For the cooperative itself is unable to make decisions on time since they have no real-time analytical information on their savings or loans portfolios. And also for the members, on the other hand, they might not have up-to-date information about their financial transactions. SmartCorp helps to provide smart banking experience to its members by digitizing the entire process of the cooperative bank. It also reduces the time taken to serve one customer with 0 errors. SmartCorp is not just a platform, it's a digital transformation enabler. There are 3 key components of the solution. One is the core banking application, which is used to digitize all the process of the cooperative bank. It can digitize and transform an average size of traditional cooperative bank into a digital services enabled institution just in 2 weeks. So we are not only focusing on digitizing the cooperative bank, but also provide digital banking solutions to its members, promoting the digital financial inclusion in the community. Cooperative customers can access their financial information in real time by using SmartCorp mobile banking application. It also provides a few other value-added services such as mobile top-ups, utility bill payments, and fund transfers. Smart Collector is another app extensions where field officers are backed with technology to enable them to provide doorstep banking seamlessly. Transactions are updated in real time and customers are notified instantly with an SMS or as an in-app notification. In Sri Lanka, more than 80% of the cooperatives still use pen and paper. There are over 16,000 registered cooperatives and little over 10,000 cooperatives are in the banking sector. And there are more than 8.1 million rural citizens transacting with cooperative banks. That's roughly about 38% of the entire population of the country. And the cooperative banking system is there in 109 countries. There are 3 million cooperatives on Earth. It is known that at least 12% of the entire global population is a cooperator of any of the cooperatives on Earth. As of today, we have digitized about 352 cooperative banks across 7 provinces in the country, and those cooperatives serve more than 1 million rural citizens. A little insight about the platform. This is based on a sample of 44 cooperative banks that we are working with. There are 260,000 plus members with 450,000 accounts. This is because of one member can have multiple accounts and have about $37 million worth of saving portfolios and have disbursed of $15 million worth of loan in the year of 2023. We have a new set of exciting features and services coming up this year. First one is SEFT connectivity. SEFT is the National Interbank Payment and Settlement Network maintained by LankaPay. Earlier, the cooperative banks had no connectivity with other banks, thus they were not able to transfer funds between other commercial banks. So now we have bridged that gap, and cooperative members can transfer funds to any other LankaPay connected bank or any financial institute over the counter or either over the counter or using the mobile banking application. And next, we have Insurance Link, a brand new platform that connects insurance companies and cooperative banks. This will enable cooperative banks to ensure their loans and reduce the risk of not being repaid. Next, we have another first to market, a co-branded debit card, which we have completed the implementation already and waiting for the regulatory approval to go live. As the current product is bit specific to Sri Lankan market, we are working on revamping and upgrading the technology of the product to go to the regional market. This new product will be 100% cloud native solution, which can compete with the regional players, and we are hoping to release the first version of SmartCop 2.0 by the end of this year. This is us. Our leadership team is a combination of 4 people with over 50 years of combined experience in the cooperative banking domain. And we are looking to raise $200,000 to expand our operations into regional market and fund the development of the next version of the product. So that's all from me. Thank you. Thank you, Arna.
Thank you, Sanjeeva. Thanks for that presentation and the information. We are really taking very well on time and come to the end of the presentations from the 3 companies. And I see there are certain questions coming in. So it is our Q&A time. So let me bring back the entire panel. And before we get on answering the questions. So I know that at the beginning, we missed Dr. Lalit Chandradasa, who is the Consul General of Sri Lanka in Los Angeles. And Dr. Chandradasa, welcome. And so I'm bringing everyone here back to the panel. So let's start taking questions. So admin, what is our first question? So first question is from Damita. Smart Corp, have you covered lending process of the corporate bank, and at what percentage transformation accounted in the bottom line growth?
So yes, we have covered the lending process of the of all the cooperative banks which we are working with. So if I understand this correctly, we have digitized the whole process of lending process, and I think we have covered like 100% transformation of the process.
Yeah, if I may add, Aruna, to that, I think what SmartCoop provides is the technology platform for the cooperatives. So that has all the modules that is required for the cooperative society to function. And that's what, so the first part, that I think the question has 2 parts. So that covers the first part, which is the lending side of it. And with regards to the accounted in the bottom line growth, is essentially that is different from each cooperative to cooperative based on where they operate. If I understand correctly, I think that will be very unique to each cooperative that is there.
Thank you, Shalinda. Damita, hope the question was answered to your satisfaction and to everyone's information. So if not, please do a follow-up question. So with that, let's move on to the next question from CW. I may have missed the agenda, but will the anticipated ROI be presented? What measures are in place for risk mitigation? Is there a range of investment value expectation?
Okay, I'll probably take this question, Aruna. So as mentioned before, we are a licensed venture capital fund. We are licensed in Singapore under the Monetary Authority of Singapore. And as a fund, we are looking at 20% IRR over the life of our fund. So that is what we do. So what happens is when investors invest in the fund, They get visibility to every single investment that we've done in across geographies, as I mentioned, across Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, Singapore, UK, and these days we are looking at Indonesia and Australia as well. And that is in terms of an investment for individuals, we have a minimum ticket size of $50,000. For single family office, it's about, I think, about 100,000, and then multi-family office is about $200,000 that is there. So it is, so as a risk mitigation is the portfolio diversity that we bring in. That's how one way that we kind of mitigated the risk. One is having diversity across multiple companies as well as multiple geographies that is there. And in terms of what measures of this? Yes, I think that will cover. So if you are directly investing in a company, I will also add you can also invest. If you're an angel investor, you can directly invest in a company as well. Obviously, startups have a very high failure rate. We encourage you to do your own due diligence and to make sure that you are part of that company and help them grow as well. So it's not a passive investment like you would make in real estate or any other capital markets. You do have to engage with your portfolio companies. And that is why we sit with all these entrepreneurs almost on a weekly, if not daily basis, looking at their growth and other aspects of building that business.
Thanks, Jalinda. Let me add a little bit into it. So I think as I said at the beginning, we will do our best to bring in venture capitals as well as startup companies and connect you with them. I know that in the audience, there is a community who is in the tech industry and pretty well versed. I think it is for them who understands and know how to do due diligence on companies who will be able to go and directly invest. But for others like me, it is actually there is another path that the due diligence is done for us and find the proper startup. So I think this is the variation of the diversity that as SLACCOM, the Sri Lanka America Chamber of Commerce, we want to bring everyone. So thank you, Chalinda. CW, I hope this question was answered to your satisfaction. So let's take another question from Dayagamage. Do all the experts keep a rapport with U.S. Trade and Development Authority in dealing with Sri Lanka among other nations? Is this something that, Charita, you want to take on? I can certainly say that actually as the chamber, we do actually try to keep a very close rapport with all the agencies, but I think the question is about something beyond that.
Well, Chalinda, we have been, keeping rapport with all the stakeholders across the board, including the Department of Commerce, which in charge of all the trade, and we have been dealing with them very closely. And there are, delegations going back and forth, and even the coming week, there's 6 companies coming here under this Select USA summit to participate. And there are a lot of developments happening in this area. So we have been in touch with all these relevant stakeholders in these areas. But I think more than that, what matters is the interest and the matching of these particular IT companies back in Sri Lanka, and from this end, how to match and to match their interest to go forward. So in that sense, a forum like this is very important for each side to understand, because there are companies in Sri Lanka who are very keen, and we have been receiving a lot of inquiries for them to link with potential parties in US. Whereas we know that in US also there are companies who are looking for these things, maybe Sri Lanka. So otherwise, there are a lot of interest in this area. But for them to understand and some are not in a position to do the due diligence also, as particularly we discussed. So in this context, it's very important to understand each party and to see the potential that they both have to marry this interest. So I think on top of these agencies in US and Sri Lanka facilitate the whole process, the active participation of Sri Lankan companies back in Sri Lanka and the companies in US are very important to meet this interest.
If I may add something in respect to the investment summit, from the companies that have been put forward, both Nanosoft and Simple Books are also part of the cohort of 50 companies. We have different asks. I saw a question on the investment range. So there are companies who are requesting from $50,000 to $100,000, from $100,000 to $500,000, and $500,000 to $1 million and above. So the more number of companies are between $50,000 to $500,000 of investment requests. I should also say, beyond this summit, we are going to extend the platform that we are using for the investor and company matching. There's a platform that we are using, and all the physical meetings will take place through this, through the intervention of this platform. In the future, we will open up this platform for online meeting setups as well. So those who are participating for the summit, might not get to meet these companies because you are participating online, but the companies will be on this platform. Currently, these 36 companies are registered on this platform, including Nanosoft and Simple Books as well, and many others. You will be able to register as an investor on this platform. It's called SLDG Invest. We will share that link after the summit so that you can register yourself as an investor and be able to set up meetings. The companies will be able to set up meetings with you as well. So I wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thanks, Sachin. I think that is very informative and did touch a few questions. But to make sure that we do not miss anything, let's bring out the next question. So this is coming from Jack Knight, CEO of JK Services located in Los Angeles. Will be in Sri Lanka July 20th to August 12th, and looking to see whether Nanosoft support a plan to direct transactions between banking system of Sri Lanka and consumers in USA, personal money transactions and business transactions, similar to Western Union. Sanjeeva, I think this is for you.
Yeah, thank you, Jack, for the question. As I mentioned, this is something we are currently working on to enable fund transfers. At the moment, we are working on to enable fund transfers within the commercial banks and cooperative banks in Sri Lanka. This is something we were looked into, but we had some regulatory restrictions to enable this kind of a solution, but definitely this is something we can work on. Looking forward to meet you in person.
Thank you, Sanjeeva. Next question, please. Coming from Indica Pereira, what is the average value of individual and corporate investment to date? No need to be precise. I think Sachindra gave some numbers. The range is starting from $50,000, but open to the forum to add anything.
Yes, Aruna, just to add from my side, if you are investing in the fund, as I mentioned earlier, if you're an individual, it's a minimum $50,000. And as for a company, then it increases, whether it's a single owner or multiple owners, it slightly changes because we are a regulated fund, and to invest in the fund, you have to be what is known as an accredited investor. And an accredited investor is under the Singaporean law, it's basically someone who earns more than 300,000 Singapore dollars per annum or has an asset base of over $1 million. So that is the for you to invest in the fund, which has the most risk mitigation aspect for you. But if you're investing directly in a company, I think Sachindra mentioned some information as well. But I think you can also engage with the companies and negotiate and have a conversation. There might be some strategic value that you bring into that particular company. So for an example, we have a portfolio company where we've invested. They've also raised multiple rounds from other venture capital funds in Singapore. Very recently, we onboarded an angel investor for $10,000, primarily because he was a previous founder of a company called Neom, which is a neobank. It's a unicorn. There's over $1 billion in revenue in Philippines. And there was a certain strategic value of him being an investor in the company. So in that situation, we also took that particular angel investors capital as well. So it depends on company to company, from individual to individual. We started off by putting in about $500,000 of our own personal money. Right now, we've raised about $2 million, little over $2 million AUM, where we've invested in all these companies.
Awesome. Thank you, Charlinda. Indigo, hope that was very well answered. So let's quickly move on to the next question. Can SLACCOM step in for due diligence? I think that's a great question. So let me quickly give you the short-term and the long-term answer. In the short term, we do not, unfortunately, have the bandwidth to do due diligence of various Sri Lankan startup companies, because I think if my statistics are right, there are about 600 new startups. This is why we say that the startup ecosystem has gelled very well with everyone. So unfortunately, not at this time. But so therefore, we rely on a close community of leaders who are actually bringing in due diligence from their own work. But in the future, I know that there are people who are in the industry who are joining in today. We invite you to be a part of SLACCOM. You could lead the chapter, SLACCOM's chapter, from your own metropolitan city, particularly with IT in mind, and probably they could bring in expertise and the bandwidth for SLACCOM to do this level of due diligence on behalf of you. So which we have in mind, but that is a long-term thing, but unfortunately not at the moment. But this is why we are bringing in the VC community here, who, if you have confidence, if you see that they are due diligence, or end of the day, we all will have to do due diligence on what their activity is. So that's where we stand at the moment. Thank you. Next question. Coming from Ayana Abevikrama, perhaps the fund needs to expand to facilitate lower investment cutoffs to Sri Lankan overseas who want to test the waters can do so. Great question.
Thank you, Ayana. I think we would also like to reduce that. Unfortunately, it's not in our hands. It's as I mentioned, we are governed by the Singapore law and the policies that is set out in our license. And also there is a cost involved in doing the KYC documents at this stage. But what we can do is, and what we've done for some of the Sri Lankans who are living overseas, is we've allowed them to tag along with us on investments that are made directly to the company. So if you're directly investing into, let's say, Shopbook or Nanosoft, then it can be as low as $10,000, and that's not a problem. You can tag along with us for that same conditions and terms and term sheet. So that we've allowed and facilitated in the past as well. So maybe that's something that you can explore, just to, as you said, test the waters.
Thank you. So looks like there is a way, right? So appreciate all the questions. I think we have come to the end of it. Just 4 minutes over. Want to do everything to keep us on time. So to all the participants who if you even miss something at the beginning, be sure that we will be sharing the entire recording, and we will also make a document of all the questions and answers, so that including contact details of the participants and the presenters today, so that you can go directly to them and get any more answers. But at the same time, SLACCOM, we are here to facilitate anything else as well. So coming to an end of it, really appreciate you all taking the time in joining this inaugural Tech Startup Investment Forum. And so this is not a one-off gig. This will continue every last Saturday at the same time. That's 9 a.m. Pacific time. So which you will be alerted with the agenda for next time. And so we have another fund, which is BOV Capital, who will be presenting next time along with some of their startups, another company that was in Sachindra's leadership brands who are in the ecosystem. So with that said, let me quickly share some information on how you can register to view for the Zoom link for the DigiCon Summit. Let me put this in the comment section so that it is visible to everyone. And also, any parting comments, anything anybody wants to add quickly? All right. If not, I think I've shared all the information. Once again, you will get the recording of this session and another document compiled with the questions and answers, along with the contact details of the parties who have been present here today. So to the entire panel, thank you very much for taking the time. And to all the participants out there, again, really appreciate you taking the time on this precious weekend. I know how valuable that is, and I'm sure we have not disappointed you. There is certainly a case being made here as individuals, and within our reach, there is a way that we can get involved, and we can, where it will end up being, in my opinion, a win-win situation. Thank you very much. See you at the next summit in the last Saturday of July. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.